My SS truck is trying to kill me. Let's take a look why this thing wants me to die. Let's get started. This is my 2005 Chevrolet SS Silverado with the 6-liter and it's all-wheel drive. You guys remember that this was on Hoovie's garage and ended up buying it from Hoovie for $5,000. I kind of just give them the repairs and things for free. It was kind of a swap. And it's worked pretty well for a while. It's hauled things. I just wanted it to haul stuff, to haul trash, boxes, limbs, whatever. Even for shop work like hauling engines, transmissions, and it's done a very good job. But the last few trips are really concerning to me. I always knew this was a rusty vehicle. You remember we had to take the bed off and replace a bunch of rusty parts and do a fuel pump and things of that nature. We had to replace a cross member that holds up the charcoal canister. There was quite a lot of doing to get this thing a little bit more safe, but I'm starting to think that this may be at the point where I need to do something with it. And I'll let you guys in the comments let me know, what should I do with this thing after we look it over. There's two things that are concerning. The last few trips that I've took it on, when I get home, underneath will be small little piles of rust or little flakes. Some of them as big as my hand. And you know, a few of those I didn't mind, but after it kept doing it over and over, it's like, okay, this isn't right. The second problem, I've been smelling fuel. I keep smelling it. I've looked in the engine bay, I don't really see anything. So we're going to take a look around this thing together, then we're going to get on the lift and find out just how bad is the rust and where is the fuel coming from. This is a really cool truck. I really want to like it. I really want to keep it. I hope it's not a goner. Externally, it doesn't look that bad. If it just passed by while you're cruising on the street, you would say, that's a clean looking truck. From the rear, it's also very clean. The paint is shiny. There's a story on the rear bumper that I'll share with you guys in a minute that is really cool. As we look down this side, you can see that it's straight. There's no dents, there's no scratches. You don't really see any rust as far as the body is concerned. You would think that this is a clean daily driver, but we will see that that is so wrong. Let's go ahead and open the engine bay. So when I open this hood, the truth starts to come out. Let's take a look. Look up here, guys. Not so clean anymore, is it? Now keep in mind, a lot of these things I decided I would just look past it because I'm just going to beat it up and use it for hauling things, but it's starting to scare me. This rust is pretty bad. You saw that on Hoovie's garage, but this has actually gotten worse. I may have to replace this hood or do something with it. But here in the engine bay, we have the 6-liter LS-based truck engine, a Vortex 6.0. I think they're 300 or 320 horsepower, and it has quite a bit of torque, like 375, I think. It's got really good power. I love this engine. I love the way it drives. If anything, I guess I have a good engine. The transmission. You can see some surface rust, like on that little pump there, vacuum pump, and some of the brackets and things. But it gets way, way worse. Let's go ahead and look in the interior.
Okay, ladies and gents, let me cover up that light just real quick on there. Yes, you are reading that correct. This thing has 192,000 miles on it. So it's not like, service airbag. Well, let Wizard explain that. But it's not like this is a spring chicken. It's got a few issues up here. For one, looks like it's got some, heat damage from maybe sitting outside a few, 1,000 times. Dash actually is in good shape. Nothing torn, bad up there. Standard controls right there, nothing major going on. Got the lovely SS emblem over there, but, he's kept it pretty clean in here. We're not going to see rust on this part because everything is either covered with carpet or, in this case, some nice darker, kind of a leather gray with a nice, again, SS emblem on the headrest. As we move to the back seat, it is a full back seat. Nice bench seat, so this does have enough seating for 5 people. As we roll up to that headliner though, Yeah, we've got a few issues over there. Got some sagging going on along the edge. It's got a few marks here and there. Got some stains in a few spots, but at least it's hanging up there and not dangling in the wizard's face. And as we end at our steering wheel view, nice controls on our steering wheel, nothing major complex going on here. It isn't a bad truck to drive. I've driven it a few times and it's fun to ride, except, you know, that rust, it does worry me. Wizard, let's show him the underneath.
Before we get this thing in the air, I want to explain what's going on with the bumper. You can see multiple different screws holding on this pad here, this rubber pad. You can see it was impacted here. This lens is cracked. There's dents in the actual body. This all happened on a rainy day. I was sitting in the office with Crazy D, and a delivery driver with a semi-truck, for whatever reason, was backing up alongside my building when I don't even take deliveries back there. When he realized that he shouldn't be back there, he started to come forward again, and the side of his trailer just wham right into the side of this truck. The whole bed kind of bounced up and down up in the air. The bumper was sitting on like this. And I knew the bumper was trashed, but the rest of the damage I didn't even know about. So the delivery company had an insurance adjuster call me. He said, take it to a local body shop, we'll get some estimates. So I did that. The body shop found so much damage, they were like, this is going to be almost $5,000 to fix this. I contacted the adjuster, I sent him a copy of the estimate from the body shop, and I got a check in the mail for $5,000. And obviously I didn't have the body work done. I just screwed the bumper back on, and I don't care about the dents. The crazy thing is, I got this from Hoovy for around that much. And now I got a refund, basically, of all my money based on this dent. I don't care that it was dented. I don't care that the bumper was botched up. So almost a free truck, guys. I was really upset that they did that, but after I got a payout, I was like, I'm not sad. The truck's almost free now. Keep in mind, they were going to put a complete new taillight lens, a whole new bumper, repaint the bed, a whole bunch of work to make everything right. But I know the thing's so rusty, and I know the thing is getting towards the end of its life. I'm not going to put that money into this truck. So it sucked that it got hit, but at the same time it was kind of cool. I don't know. Anyways, let's get this thing up in the air. Okay, one thing that's really scary is I was lifting this thing up and something popped and I saw a fourth pile of rust fall. So this is getting worse even as we're lifting this thing. Let's take a look and see what exactly is going on here.
Now, Wizard, is it okay for us to go under there?
Yes, I think it's fine for us to go under there, but there's definitely something back there is very iffy.
I don't want to have our daughter be an orphan.
No, we don't need that. That would be very bad. Well, I can see a lot of surface rust that's been painted over here, but that's not really coming apart. The engine's nice and dry. Everything looks good there. The steering gearbox has got a little bit of a seepage, but it's nothing serious. And here's our front differential for the all-wheel drive system.
What was that you just had?
This is my magic wand.
Your magic wand.
Yes, it's my wizard wand.
That looks a lot like a flat screwdriver.
Yeah, it's going to work for that today.
Okay.
Our strut is good. The CV boots are good. The brakes are good on this side. Nothing loose there. That strut is, actually a shock I should say, is good. CV boots are good. This caliper has been replaced. You can see it's brand new because it was so rusted that it seized up. But I do see something that's very common I'm finding on this truck. Like, it's kind of scary. Here's a brake line. It's literally just crumbling.
And you let me drive this?
Yes. Here's our transmission. It's nice and dry. Everything's going good there. Here's our transfer case. The powertrain on this thing is fine. Everything does exactly what it's supposed to do. It runs very well. But structurally, as far as the frame is concerned, I think we're going to be in trouble on this thing. And we go back here, we can see the drive shaft is in good shape. Here's our exhaust. You can see it's starting to flake here. And you can also see the body is really starting to flake pretty bad. That's pretty bad there. Ugh. So here's the pile, and also where I heard the pop noise. There's the pile on the ground. A bunch of rust just fell down. Oh man, this thing is just ready to separate almost. Ugh! Look at that, Mrs. Wizard.
That is bad. Ooh, and what is that smell?
I smell gas. You can see it's wet right here. Yeah, I think these lines are so rusted that they're just leaking fuel. I bet if I poked that really hard, it would just collapse.
Please don't. I don't need a gasoline shower today.
No, we're not going to poke that. That's definitely going to be addressed first, but one thing that concerns me is not only is this crossmember crumbling, but the actual frame itself is starting to flake and come apart right there. That's all the way down. You can see it's been compromised. It's really thin. Scary, scary stuff. Same thing over here. It's not as bad, but I could sit here and chip it away and break pieces off. It's really worse in the rear, and it must be from road salt, like when it's snow or ice on the ground or whatever. So that kind of stinks. Here's our exhaust, which I had welded on from here back. It's good exhaust. Here's the differential, which is currently leaking. I didn't know that that was happening so bad. Let's check. See, these calipers are both new on the back because they had rusted. You can see this backing plate is just crumbling as well. Ugh. This one is, oh man. It's just crumbling. This whole truck is crumbling. These brake lines are suspect. You can see they are also very crusty, like they could just snap. I don't want to push on it. Wow, even this differential cover has got pinholes from so much rust that it's coming out. The rust is really bad on this vehicle. Spare tire's gone. Oh my goodness. This is very upsetting, guys. This is definitely not what I wanted to see. It's so sad. You can see that we did put in that cross member there. It's a new one. We welded on, and there was barely anything to weld to, but it did work for our shock mount and also to hold up the gas tank because it was literally about to fall. So that's been replaced. But before this thing falls on us, let's get this thing back on the ground. So even as I was letting this thing down on the lift, as the weight transferred over to the rear axle, I could see the frame actually start to settle in, and I heard like Rice Krispies. When you pour milk, it was crunching, like just the weight transferring. And it's just really, really concerning. It's kind of scary. Again, a lot of you guys up the Northeast drive stuff way worse than this, and that's fine if you want to risk it. But I'm just really concerned about this truck. I have someone I knew years ago that had a really rusty vehicle like this. And they sold the vehicle. The person they sold it to, the rust finally gave way, the frame gave out, right on a railroad track. And as it broke down, a train was coming and the person was killed. And the person that I know that happened to, that sold the vehicle, that killed the person, is still dealing with that today. So when I see this frame rust and you guys say, oh, come on, Car Wizard, that's not bad. I know someone who has had someone die from it. So I don't know what to do. What do you guys think I should do? I knew when I got this thing it was rusty, but I didn't know that it was going to continue to advance and get worse so fast. Also, it didn't have much of a fuel smell once we got everything fixed in the back, but now I've been smelling the fuel and I've also been finding the piles of rust. It's just getting worse and worse. And now I see that entire fuel line all the way along the frame is going to have to be replaced because it's just crumbling. It could burst at any moment. So the statement, "my truck is trying to kill me," is true. If the frame were to give out and something were to fall to the ground and metal scraping and sparking, while there's fuel literally coming out, I could have just had an explosion. It literally could kill me. The town that I live in Newton, is known for their trains. They have trains going through. It's been a train town since the 1800s, and it hasn't gotten any less since then. In fact, probably more. So the combination of rust and the fuel and the trains, it just brings me all the way back to having to deal with my friend who had sold his car to someone and killed them because of the rust. I've had ideas. Maybe I should just pull the engine and transmission and keep it for a cool project someday. I could swap it into an El Camino or something and scrap the rest, or I could just drive it until it collapses, or I could do a frame swap. I don't know. Really, it's kind of so upsetting to me. I just really don't even want to think about it right now. And again, I'm not upset with Hoovy or anything like that. I'm just upset that it happened the way it did. Let me know in the comments, what would you do with this? So I'm glad you guys could follow along and let us check this thing over. If you're curious what kind of tools we use actually to do this job we just did, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's so many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.